Dear all, welcome to HR Tech's demo, our September 2023 edition, organized by HR Tech and powered by Archely. Archely is globally recognized as a trusted partner for parsing, matching, and data enrichment for numerous corporations. Today, we will highlight the benefits of leveraging tech to revolutionize learning and onboarding. Our singular goal has always been to create a tech-driven and data-centric HR ecosystem for driving successful workplace and talent transformations that will enable organizations to grow and HR teams to become strategic business partners. So before that, a quick overview of us. We are a Singapore-headquartered HR tech market development and solutions firm. We were set up in 2018 in Singapore. Since then, we have expanded to India and the Middle East to help HR teams identify tech solutions for their business and HR challenges. Applications of technology across the employee lifecycle. Technology has revolutionized every phase of the employee lifecycle, enhancing HR processes across the board, from talent planning and acquisition to engagement and development. Technology streamlines operations. Demo Hour. HR Tech embarked on the HR Tech Demo Hour event series in 2019 to evangelize and promote the use of HR technologies. The event provides a platform for HR technology providers to showcase their high-tech solutions, aiding the adoption of HR tech, and the event motto has always been only to showcase demos and not presentations. After the onset of the pandemic, we have moved from an in-person to an on-demand webinar format. So we've done demo hour events focused on specific topics such as leveraging tech for university hiring, rewards and recognition for the hybrid workforce, conversational AI in HR, and leveraging tech for talent development. So we are thrilled to have Krishnan Neelakantan, Chief Learning Officer, Ramco Systems, as a part of the expert HR panel. He will be witnessing demos and addressing questions on the behalf of the many HR professionals who will be watching this in an on-demand format. And to present the demos, we have John, founder and CEO, Enparadigm, and Sandeep, Senior Vice President of Digital Learning, Products and Solutions from Imarticus. Over to you, John.
Thank you, Sanika, and a warm welcome to all the people who are watching this series over here today. My name is John. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Enparadigm. But I'll just take 2 minutes to just give you a context on Enparadigm and then go straight to the demo. Okay, so just to help you understand a little bit more about Enparadigm, we are an experiential learning and talent intelligence company, and we work on future-ready skills for companies. And we are today the world's #1 simulated learning experience platform. We work with over 100 companies, 100 countries, more than 500 clients, enterprise clients, develop more than 1 million people through thousands of modules developed over the last 13 years. And we are quite well recognized in the experiential learning space. So we regularly work and with our clients and then win awards along with them for our work in Brandon Hall training industry, Deloitte, Future of L&D, and other such experiential learning award platforms. These are the kind of companies who we work with. So you can see we work with a lot of global multinational companies across different parts of the world. And some of the examples are companies like Society Generale, American Express, Google, Amazon, P&G, Dow, etc., etc. In the Singapore region, we just recently also started working with United Overseas Bank as well. There are 2 solutions that we primarily have. One is a tech platform, which is what we're going to be showcasing today from a demo perspective. This is an experiential learning and talent intelligence platform. But along with this platform, we also have hybrid learning journeys where you have a human layer of facilitators, trainers, and coaches who come in with the human expertise required to train and coach people. So we offer the platform to our companies, and we also offer human coaches and facilitators to come and train using the simulations in the platform for our clients. I'm going to now show you a 2-minute video of the platform, just so that all of you know what the platform is all about, and then also give you a very short demo of the same.
Welcome to the demo of the Catalyx Talent Intelligence Platform, Enparadigm's generative AI and immersive AI-based enterprise SaaS platform for talent development. Catalyx comes preloaded with thousands of skill definitions across roles and hierarchies for different industries, making it a plug-and-play platform. In this demo, we will see how Catalyx T, IP, works for a client organization in the banking sector. These are the typical roles within the retail banking role family. Our AI engine maps all skills necessary for an employee to succeed in this role. These skills are further broken down into micro skills, or behaviors that are quantifiable and measurable. Different roles have different skills, based on their hierarchy level in the role family. Client organizations can configure the platform by adding or deleting roles and skills as per their need. Based on the skill profile of an employee's role, Catalyx automatically generates immersive and adaptive scenarios for them to play. These are curated using generative AI, which is helping us create a library of thousands of scenarios mapped to different industries, roles, and skills. Our platform also contains a vast array of game types and digital avatars that make the scenarios immersive and experiential in a jiffy. The user takes up various personas and face dynamic business situations and stakeholders, which are based on their roles and the skills they need to develop. The platform also gives real-time feedback to the user on how they did and what they can do to become better. It also generates detailed scorecards of their skills to help the user identify their strengths and improvement areas. This is interspersed with sharp and relevant learning nuggets provided by digital avatars in an interactive way. The platform also captures feedback about the user from their managers, peers, and other stakeholders, and provides a holistic evaluation of the user across multiple skills required for success in their current and future roles. As the user spends time on the platform, it calibrates and gathers data across their skill profile and showcases how their capability has improved over time. By taking the user through a personalized skill-building journey relevant to their current and future role aspirations, Catalyx helps both users and organizations achieve future readiness. Enparadigm, productizing talent management through generative AI and immersive AI.
All right, so that is just an overview of the platform. Now, the way it actually works is it is very modular. So the platform has three different aspects. There is the skill and competency profiling. Secondly, there are assessments. And thirdly, there are experiential learning paths in which there are different simulations based on the need of the client. And we can modularize the whole thing so that if a client wants to do only the assessments piece or only the simulations piece, then only that part of the platform can be given to a client. And it is something that can very easily integrate into a client's existing learning ecosystem. And we either provide very easy to logins, user IDs and passwords for people to log into the platform, or what we do is we integrate into the company single sign-on so that people can use their corporate ID to directly log into the platform. What I'm showing you on screen is one example of an experiential learning path. I've created a login for myself. And when you go into an experiential learning path, you can see there are many different modules over here. So we have over a couple of 100 different simulations that we've already made. And we have a content creator platform where third-party creators are able to quickly create more simulations. So here you can see there is a module on pivots. There's a module on machine learning. There's a module in German on active listening. There's a module in English on active listening. So I'm just going to click start now and just quickly walk you through one module so that you can see how the immersive experiences in the platform are working. And that will bring me to the end of my demo. Right. So here, for example, there's a module on active listening where the platform gives you your goal, in terms of your aptitude score or your active listening score. And there is a context that is given to you where you manage a team and different members in your team have multiple opinions. So in this context, you are looking after a team of investment bankers, and they want to invest in different kind of asset classes, which are not common today, like bitcoins. And historically, your company has stayed away, but now you want to meet them to take a decision on this. And so here you can see there are three people in your team. You have Gary, who thinks it's a fad. You have Jane, who is not sure of the demand for these assets, and you have Mary, who is convinced about the demand. So you have three different opinions. Now, as we go forward, you're going to meet these three people, and the question is, how do you manage the situation? How do you listen actively to them?
Some of my clients have been inquiring about these instruments. To be honest, while I understand the risks involved, I don't understand the firm's decision to stay away from these instruments, even when there's so much demand in the market.
Right, so this is a character who has come up and spoken to you, and you have many different options over here. You can either use your voice to select these options by reading them out, or you can use your mouse. So there are different options over here. And depending on what option you select, the platform will then give a response back to you, right?
Most of my clients who wish to invest in these asset classes are high net worth individuals with a high risk appetite. In fact, I also feel the interest among my institutional clients has also doubled this past year.
Mary, I would like to disagree here. My experience has been different. While some high net worth individuals showed interest, I have hardly seen any interest from the institutional clients.
So I'll just quickly play out the scenario in front of you so that you can see how the platform will then give feedback.
While last year, 3 of my institutional clients were asking about these new asset classes, this year, almost 6 of them have inquired. There's a significant opportunity waiting to be explored.
Please allow me to interrupt as I have a different opinion. Clients might ask, but we have to sensitize them about the risks involved. After understanding the risks involved, they are unlikely to express interest in these new asset classes. Before others pitch in, I want to reiterate my perspective once more. When clients bring up these new asset classes, I explain to them how they are risky and unregulated, and they don't show much interest afterward. So I would say there isn't much interest overall to merit a change in our investment strategy.
I am not sure if ignoring them or focusing on just the risks involved is sufficient. It's reasonable to conclude that there's strong interest from our H&I clients, and we have to factor client demands into our investment strategy.
I'm happy to do the required research on these new instruments. It's high time we invest in these asset classes.
Sorry to interrupt, but we also have to consider if we have the required in-house capability to service such requests. Sure. In that case, I'll wait for Mary to finish her research. Thanks, everyone. See you soon.
So what has happened is that I've had a conversation with my 3 team members, and depending on their inputs, I have selected different options. So everything they say is based on the option that I select, right? So the platform allows you to. This is one game type on a platform where, depending on how you make decisions, the responses will come to you, and the path that you navigate, depends on your approach and style. Once the platform finishes the scenario, it asks you a couple of reflective questions. For example, what kind of score do I think I have achieved? And then it may kind of ask me some other reflective questions over here. And then based on my answers, now the platform is going to give me feedback, right? So it will say that, that while I thought I was high on my score, my effectiveness is actually medium. And it gives my score on a leaderboard along with other players in the cohort. And it also asks me to reflect, that can I come across as dismissive of Mary's concerns over here, right? Or in this case, when I selected this response, it kind of said I made a good choice. Over here, it's asked me to again reflect, did I close all the loops in the question, right? So while they might have said certain things, my response may have indicated that I missed some of the things that they've said, right? So you can see I have done a mixed kind of a job here. In some cases, I was able to address the concerns and queries properly. In some cases, I have missed what the other person has said. And that kind of is the reason why my active listening score is medium. Now it breaks down active listening into sub-components over here. And then as we go forward, the platform will give me a short learning video on the framework of active listening. So this is the framework of active listening. So it gives me a short video to help me understand this competency of active listening better. And when I click next over here, then get the next scenario. So what we're trying to do here is to make people go through many different situations and scenarios that they encounter in their work life, and intersperse these scenarios with small learning nuggets where people are able to learn and then apply the learning in the scenarios real time then and there. So the idea is to make things very active, immersive, and experiential using the technology that we have. So in the technology, all the characters that you see on screen, they are all generated by, we have a technology called immersive AI. So they are all immersive AI characters. And all the content that you see on screen, we have a team of third-party content collaborators who are industry experts from different industries. And they also use a lot of generative AI to generate all the content that you see on screen, right? So what happens is that on the platform you can configure the different parameters, and then we upload scenarios created for different simulations, and then we select avatars on the platform, and then when you click a preview, then you get to see how the simulation looks for the end user, right? And then you are able to debrief, create a debrief for the end user, so that after they've gone through the simulation, you're able to see, okay, what are the scoring patterns like, and you're able to give feedback to the user in real time then and there, and then give them the learning that they need to kind of improve their capability. So we put people through a cycle of going through scenarios, understanding themselves where they stand, getting feedback from the platform, and then giving them conceptual input after that so that they can improve their technique. And then we put people through the cycle of scenario, feedback, technique, and improve the capability after that.
Product design and solution space at Imarticus.
All right. So I just thought I'll show you a very quick glimpse of what we have in our platform over here. And what we've done is we have a vast array of different simulations that we have across personal effectiveness, interpersonal effectiveness, managerial effectiveness, and leadership effectiveness. So these are all the power skills that typically companies want people to develop. And we also have a lot of simulations in the area of cognitive acumen, business acumen, sales acumen, digital acumen, which are, and depending on the client need, we can stitch together a personalized learning path for users, where they go through those learnings that are required very strongly for their capability building. Yeah, so I think I'm going to stop the product demo here, and it's a great time to take some questions.
Thank you, John, for the insightful session. Krishnan, may I please request you to begin your Q&A?
Okay, thanks. Thanks, John. It's a pretty wonderful product that you have built, which kind of brings together quite a bit of technology and also the decision-based, the branching structure that you have demonstrated. A couple of question is, in your experience of implementing this in other organizations of sorts that you showed, how are you manage the adoption? When I look at adoption, generally I'm starting to look at two dimensions. One is your novelty, which your product already has, and how do you bring in the relevancy dimension? So if you can help understand as to how you keep the adoption level by focusing on these two dimensions.
Okay, so there are 4 dimensions that we focus on. They are relevance, engagement, impact, and scale. Right. So these are the 4 value propositions that we want to bring to our customers. The relevance and the impact piece is brought in by looking at the client's competency model, client's competency framework, bringing in the right skills on the platform, the right behavioral indicators on the platform before you roll out learning paths. And when it comes to the user piece of it, we have a customer success approach. We have a customer success team which helps the client onboard users on the platform, reach out to them, engage them on the platform. Am I audible, Krishna?
Yes, I got it. Thank you for the response. A quick follow-up on this is the interpretations that you showed at the last, right, in the 3 dimensions of this example. So for other skills and behaviors, you have it all predefined, and the scenarios are also predefined, correct? Is my understanding?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. So while we have a lot of standard industry maps that we've developed for different industries, roles, and competencies, when we actually roll it out for a client, we tailor it to the client's competency model and framework and way of doing business. So it is kind of tailored to the client's need before it gets rolled out. It's not a standard approach.
Got it. And one last question is, if a particular customer wants to kind of create his or her own sim, is that an ability that the system provides, where I have my own journey path that you said in terms of how and what the scenarios it plays out, which is something that I can configure and create for myself?
Yeah, so we have experimented with this, and we've come to the conclusion that customers mostly do not have that kind of expertise in-house to do that. Customers kind of understand their business context and the learning context, and they give us a need. And then we have teams of people who actually put together the learning paths. In all likelihood, we will already have a sim that is ready to use for the customer. In some cases, then we also tailor our approach and then put in together the content required for the client.
Thanks. Thank you, John.
All right. Thank you so much, Krishnan.
Thank you so much, John and Krishnan. Sandeep, over to you. You can begin your session.
Yeah, good day, everybody. Thanks, John. That was a great presentation. Let me quickly introduce myself. I'm Sandeep Rambatla. I head the digital learning product and solutioning space at Imarticus Learning. Let me just quickly run you through a couple of slides even before I showcase the overall demo and presentation to you. So Imarticus Learning has been in the forefront of training and corporate development for almost a decade right now. I head the digital learning space, primarily focusing on what we call the Imarticus Game Studio. We have a team of cognitive specialists and game designers based out of Bangalore, primarily with an intent to design immersive and experiential learning spaces. So we use a design philosophy called as an evidence-centered design philosophy for designing our immersive games. Today, our games, the way in which we go about designing our games is what we called, as a start on board framework. Each of our games today have two important or integral components to it. One is a gaming engine, component which your end employee, would use, and then the authoring engine component, to it, which allows us to, configure, content, which makes the entire solution scalable and flexible. To give you a quick overview of how things work is, for example, we, have 4 steps, through which we publish a game. Like what I'd said, the first layer or the, layer which your end employee would use is the gaming layer, where we teleport your employees to a custom 3D world. This 3D space, today would resemble your organization space, or we already have pre-built environments, within which we teleport, your employees to. The second layer is what we call the content configuration layer. We already have pre-built, modules. It could be conversation sims, it could be onboarding templates, it could be process templates, and various puzzles which are already pre-built. So depending upon your learning need, our narrative designers would, craft a unique journey, for your organization. The third layer is what we call the game configuration layer, which is this layer allows us to have multiple learning paths. It allows us, to create an experience which are different for different, learners within your organization. So be it your senior managers, or somebody who's at the frontline staff, would have a completely different, learning path, today configured. And we publish, these games into multiple, spaces. So our games are SCOM 1.2 compliant, so which means you would be able to load these games into your existing LMS, or for that matter, they could be played, through a simple browser. Imarticus Game Studio is also SOC Type 2 compliant. We offer all of these solutions in a game as a services model. So with this particular framework, what we have done is to go ahead and we have gone ahead and then created multiple use cases. One of our most prominent use cases is the new hire onboarding, starting as early as the pre-boarding stage. If you would like to engage, your employees and help them understand your culture, the ways of working, and values of your organization, the game is a pretty good fit, for you to start engaging employees as early as the pre-boarding stage. And then subsequently, you would be in a position to take them to your normal induction and then you could take them to the functional training as well. So this is where the entire platform is capable enough for you to do your new hire onboarding. It could be process training, product training, and as well as your sales training. So today the game also uses generative AI, where the entire non-playing characters in the game today are AI, and participants would be able to converse with this AI engine, and we would be in a position to measure their competencies and proficiencies as well. The third platform that we have in the same suite is our behavioral training platform, which is what we call the Netflix of learning, where these are micro learning sims, primarily focused on various concepts, on the investigative learning paradigm. So here what happens is, be it your diversity and inclusion, or POSH, or any of the other behavioral factors you would like to simulate, this entire sim will provide learning content and scenario content. And the reason why we're calling it a Netflix of learning is every month a new scenario gets launched, like in a new series in Netflix, where your employees would be in a position to immerse themselves into a continuous learning paradigm month on month. We also have a business acumen skills platform, which primarily focuses on higher order cognitive skills such as critical thinking, decision making, problem solving, and so on and so forth. So let me just quickly jump in and then show you a view of the platform to see how the platform looks like. So what you're seeing here is, I'm playing this particular game through my browser, launched it through Chrome. I would be in a position to customize my own avatar, and each of this is a digital twin in the environment for me. So every player, would be able to choose their own set of avatars, would be able to configure, their avatars, within this particular game. The moment I configure my own avatar, I would be taken to a learning path. So this is a learning path that is coming from our authoring engine. So each of this, for example, you could talk about, welcoming your new employees to your organization. You could introduce your HR policies. You could take them to a virtual, brand store, and immerse them into the various facets of your brand. Then you could introduce them to your mandatory compliance and POSH policies, so on and so forth. So let me just quickly, jump into one of these environments to show you how it works. So this is where I completely teleport them. So this particular game is modeled around the various psychological nudges that are available in the popular gaming paradigm, right? So it has a daily login reward. Every single learning content is considered a mission in this particular game. At the end of the mission, when people complete the mission, they would have their own leaderboard scores. They would have their own badges, so on and so forth. And you would be in a position to, create this for individual departments and roles as well. So if somebody's joining the corporate non-sales division or the sales division within your organization, you would be in a position to view individual leaderboards, such as this. So what you're seeing here is, the player is where I'm controlling this particular player. This is the reception of, a company called Zydus. Zydus is, a leading, FMCG major in India, and you would be in a position to, actually teleport, these individuals to these environments and make them interact and understand, various components, to it, right? So, the way in which it works is you would be in a position to teleport, individuals, and each of these individuals could, have a virtual walkthrough. And during this particular walkthrough, they would understand the various facets, of the organization. So for example, this is a digital wall, and I would be in a position to understand the historic milestones and be able to interact with the character. I'm just going to unmute.
Go closer to the wall and interact with it by pressing E to learn more.
So you would be in a position to create, multiple, interaction spaces, such as this, where you could, the learning happens through a process of discovery. The learning happens through a process of experience in this particular game. And the platform is available in multiple languages, be it Indian vernacular languages or foreign languages. Today the platform has the capability to actually, render all of this content that you're seeing on the screen using different languages. So different employees within your organizations would experience the same content in different languages. So similarly, I could teleport the employees to different spaces. So let me just give you an example of how the product zone is going to be like. So what I'm trying to do is to introduce my products and brands to a new employee who is joining the organization. In this particular space, we would be in a position to clearly give a virtual walkthrough of each of your brands, and more importantly, help the new employees interact and talk to various brand leaders, so that they have a very clear view of the various dimensions of your brands. So in a similar fashion, what the platform could also do is to actually simulate your sales process, help employees understand various products of your organization. If you would like to teach or train your employees on end-to-end processes, which means to say that if it's, let's say, a banking process or an insurance process, you would be in a position to actually train your employees on various processes by teleporting these employees to different environments, right? So that is how the game actually functions. So here, while this particular environment is loading, because it's loading all of these products, so let me just quickly jump into a different space and then show you the day-to-day activities that I could do. So what you're seeing here is the HR today walking me through the space, and HR would give me a complete overview of the policies of the organization. They would be in a position to, we would be able to play the videos, we would be able to have assessments in this particular space, and also simulate the day in the life of a particular role. So for example, if I'm joining an insurance function, and if I would need to understand more about the claims process, and have a clear view of how the claims process work, we would be able to simulate a complete inbox activities. So this could have emails, it could have application forms, of, let us say, a policy document coming in from the insurer, or a customer phone call, that gets simulated, through this space. And each of these inputs, so whenever the player is interacting with each of these elements, and when they are responding, there is an AI component in the backend which measures each of these responses, and then eventually would be in a position to present a complete profile. In the case of, let us say, an onboarding, we would be in a position to measure what's called as a pre-boarding churn index, which completely measures the ability or the probability of an individual joining an organization or not. So what you're seeing here is my ability to go and interact with virtual characters. We have the capability to create 3D avatars of your leaders within the space, or we would be in a position to create virtual profiles of your employees. So anybody who's joining the organization would completely understand the org structure of an individual or a leader whom he's interacting with. We could have a video of that particular leader recorded, and then we would be in a position to play that particular video through this particular platform. The game also has branching conversations. So all of this is happening through the authoring engine. I'm just going to show you the authoring engine in a minute from now. So we would be in a position to now go ahead and then interact with various individuals, and these conversations would help us have a branched outcomes. So all of this content that you're seeing here today is coming from the authoring engine in the backend. So this authoring engine not only tracks the overall player performances in terms of their completion scores, their leadership scores, it also has detailed reports which will allow you to drill down and understand more about their assessments and feedback. And it also allows you to configure the game. So for example, any of the conversation that you're seeing here happens through this particular space. So we would be able to add multiple avatars right here. So I could configure an avatar. I would be able to add a designation to the avatar. I would be able to create a complete role and a profile of the avatar as well, right? Similarly, I would be able to have a complete conversation simulation configured here. So what you're seeing here is a end-to-end conversation simulation. So this is our conversation simulation engine, which allows us to configure each of those conversations that are happening. And these are branched conversations. We would be in a position to measure the overall performances and the path that an individual has taken. So I mean, that's a quick overview of the platform. We also have, like what I was saying, the workplace mystery platform, which is the behavioral simulation component. So today we have almost 10 scenarios of diversity and inclusion. We have an entire game built for Posh, and each of these scenarios would now virtually teleport your employee to an environment where they would be in a position to reason and reflect on the various incidents that are happening within your workplace, and would also be in a position to understand ways of solving and resolving some of these conflicts. So the game starts with a cutscene. In this particular cutscene, the player now understands an incident that has occurred in the organization. So this is a dynamic cutscene. It depends on how the player is currently looking at it. So once the player completes this particular view, we would be in a position to teleport them to a virtual space, something like this. So here, what the player does is they interact with the individuals. They have a conversation. It's a completely branched conversation. So depending upon how the conversation goes, the end scenario actually plays out. And in the end, there is a complete pathway to measure how the player has traversed in this particular path, and we would be in a position to measure their competencies as well. I mean, happy to take any questions that you might have at this point.
Hey, thanks. Thanks, Sandeep. Am I audible to you?
Yes, Krishna.
Wonderful. Yeah, I think the whole context of the onboarding stuff that you showed was quite impressive in terms of how someone can really get a feel of the organization and get through the whole journey of that first day fear is taken away from you. Yeah, and I also like the idea of that you said in terms of getting your leaders as an avatar and making them interact with people, which generally gets missed out in any onboarding which happens over a period of a month, right?
Sure.
A couple of quick questions that I have is one mostly around on how have you measured the kind of like the effectiveness of retention of what they have learned through this method versus the conventional approach of going through a SCORM click and do approach?
Right. So from a retention perspective, what we have done is, with the organization, so the 30, 60 day, 90-day program is what, we, typically use. So, whatever is covered during the induction, when the individual comes back to the 30-day or the 60th day, what we do is to start with a quick assessment, to understand what, people remember as a part of, let's say, the values or the history or the key important information that's covered, during the induction or the pre-boarding phase. What the organization also does is, at various intervals of time, the HR in the entire authoring engine also has a portal, for them to launch pulse surveys, through this particular platform to capture, some of those, retention areas. So what we do is to start the 30, 60 day, with an assessment of all those, data that's covered in the induction and the pre-boarding phase.
Wonderful. Thanks, Sandeep. So another question that I had mostly was around the sims that you said gets refreshed quite often, right? I guess you said you're bringing in more sims. My question is more about not bringing in newer sims, but in the same sim.
Yes.
How often do you update scenarios or the branches, right? Because more I practice and more branches that I practice, mostly on the behavioral sim side of it, not on the induction part. That is when the learning will start becoming solidified, and then you have spaced repetition approach to keep that in the minds fresh, right? Do you do that in terms of bringing in different scenarios into the existing sim and make them do that?
Yes. So, for example, concepts like, I'll just take the example of a DNI, right? So, within DNI, if we were talking only about one dimension called workplace sexism. So, what we have done is we have created almost 5 episodes only on workplace sexism, because it is A, completely nuanced in terms of the concept, and B, for them to have a constant refresher, because this is something that we would like people to bring out into their conscious mind from their subconscious biases. So what we have done is to repeat, or some of these topics have multiple scenarios like what you had mentioned, so that it actually reinforces the learning that has occurred, in one of those episodes a couple of months back. So what we do is to, in the same topic, bring about, multiple, scenarios like what you said.
Okay, good, wonderful. One last question. This is mostly on the leaderboard side, and this I'm just going to lay a context and ask you this question, right? So,
Sure.
My experience when you put a leaderboard and the leaderboard are a large cohort, maybe say 1,000 people involved, or anything more than 15, 20, or 30. This phenomena is what I have seen. Is that there are people who will do well, and those who are not doing well are not going to get interested because they cannot catch up with the leaders.
Right.
And they kind of start switching off very quickly.
Right.
So, is there mechanics in your system that allows me to configure a leaderboard by maybe a sub cohort, by an SBU, by a project? So then I have fair chance of achieving that, being in the leader position of 10, 20, 30 people.
Right.
And then maybe I might be on the 100th position on a larger cohort.
Right. So, Krishnan, that's a great question. So there are two ways or two dimensions to the way in which we handle this. One is, within the leaderboard, we have the possibility of configuring a daily leaderboard, a departmental leaderboard, and an all-time leaderboard, right? Okay. So if I'm not in the all-time leaderboard, if I could do well, today, then I have the instant gratification of being on the leaderboard on today's, leaderboard stack. So, and this gives equal opportunity for everybody to be a part of the day's leaderboard, or if not, they could at least be a part of their departmental, leaderboard per se. So what we have done is to break the leaderboard into smaller chunks or cohorts, like what you had mentioned. The other thing that we have also done is through the phenomena of a game balancing. There are possibilities. For example, if I show continuous logging into the platform, and there are these what we call as a daily login reward or a daily challenge. So there is a possibility for me to actually hit a bumper, in one of those days where if I continuously log into the platform, I could answer, a simple question which could give me a higher payoff. And that payoff, will help me move up the ranks, quickly, so that I still feel that there is a possibility, even though I'm in the lower, ranks in the leaderboard. So both through game balancing and through breaking the leaderboard into 3 different chunks, we today are handling this particular phenomena that you're talking about.
Wonderful. Thanks, Sandeep. I think quite an interesting platform. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Krishnan.
Thank you so much, everyone. Coming to the end of the demo session, I would like to thank Krishnan for his time and effort, and team Enparadigm and Imarticus for accepting our invite and showcasing their demos. Also extending great heartfelt gratitude to all the participants, and lastly, Archali for always supporting us. Thank you so much. We would love to host you again.
Thank you. Good day to you all.